Hopefully technology will work for us today and everybody will be able to see us on Facebook as well as YouTube Live. Crossing our fingers. If you can see us and you can hear us, go ahead and press like or raise your hand or whatever. Let us know that you're there. And yeah, let us know that you can see us. And we're going to get started. Beautiful, beautiful. If you're watching the replay, that's okay. Hashtag replay. You can hear us. Go ahead and press like or raise your hand or we can hear whatever. Let us know that you're there. Okay. And all right. So it looks like we're live everywhere. Good job. Good job. Corey, you ready, babe?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Oh, shuck-a-duckin' now. Stand by. I'm going to begin recording. Hello and welcome to another episode of the DUALpreneur Virtual Mastermind. I am your host and founder of DUALpreneur, Tara Jackson, aka Madam Money. And I am super excited about today's session. I'm excited about all of them, but my big brother, the network king and the Master Pro networker is in the building today. And woo, woo, what I love about Corey is I've always known him for networking events and everything, but you know, you're an accountant by trade, right?
By trade.
By trade, he's an accountant, but he is the most non-accountant person I've ever met, but he holds these awesome networking events in Atlanta, Georgia, right? I mean, phenomenal. Hundreds of people, probably thousands of people come to his event just to networking event. So he is a master of that. So if you ever want to hold a networking event, you got to connect and get consulted by Corey Moore, the network king. But he's here because we're having some challenges right now with the coronavirus, the pandemic, and the quarantine. If you're watching this after, you kind of know what we experienced. And now we're trying to get back to normal. But there are some things that we have to do differently, the new normal. And we still need to connect with other entrepreneurs, people like-minded. Why is it important? Because if I'm feeling challenged, there could be other people out there that are feeling the same way or have felt the way I felt and have some solutions. So collaboration needs to still happen, even connecting with our customers, our potential customers, as well as existing customers. Well, how do we do that now? How do we really leverage? Why should we leverage? That's why I had to get the expert of networking in the building, Mr. Corey Moore, the pro networker, the network king, my big brother, my ace boom cool, all that jazz. Corey, how you doing today, boo?
You know what? I cannot complain at all. I've been telling people that we are over here making some Corona lemonade. Please, nobody hashtag that. Don't take that. If you do take it, just say Corey Network King said it first, because I haven't heard.
I'll give you credit the first 2 times, and then it's kind of mine. But okay.
I'm sure somebody else has said it, but I ain't seen it no place. So please don't take that. But everything's going okay. Cannot complain with due to circumstance, but cannot complain after that. So.
Awesome. Well, as people are coming in, we want to thank you, for joining us today to share some things. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what are some ways we can network our network?
Definitely. So again, thank you for having me. We have networked with each other for years.
Long time.
And it's all about, and it still has an example of why it's always important to build your network, build your database, build relationships with people, because you never know what types of things that you guys are going to do in the future with each other. So, you and I are a perfect example of that. You and I have been networking with each other for years, might not have done actual business with each other, but still networking and still building each other's resources and being of value to each other. So that's actually huge. But yes, I am an accountant. I own a tax company. We've been doing taxes ever since 2005. I am an EA, which is an extroverted accountant. Actually, EAs know that's something actually different, but no, I built my whole accounting firm through networking. The first time that I actually went to a networking event, I came out of business to business sales. So with that, somebody had to show me how to network. They're like, "Hey, why don't you come out and network?" And I was like, "What is that?" So they took me to a networking event, and this whole concept of actually meeting somebody, telling them what you do, they then say, "Hey, I need that." They then give you money. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." So I did it again, and that happened. I did it again, and that would happen. So I got to this point where it's just like, wow, everybody needs to know about this networking. And on my tax side, I had clients whose businesses were growing. And I'd say, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Hey, I'm out here networking. I'm out here meeting people," things of that nature. Then I actually had clients who their business wasn't growing. And I said, "Hey, what, are you out here networking?" And they would typically say, "No," and give me an excuse of why they weren't networking. So not only did I see that networking played a huge factor in my business, but I actually saw where it played a huge factor in other people's business. So I then started doing more research on networking, trying to learn more about it, trying to understand it more, and really got to that point of saying, you know what, it's not just me that this is happening, that there's other people who are, and we're not talking about a difference between going from 2 to 3. We're talking about a difference of night and day difference of what networking has been doing for their business. So I pretty much became, let's call it, a networking advocate. We started letting people know about other networking events that were, happening around Atlanta. We did not want anybody to miss out on a networking event. Created a newsletter with different networking events that were happening around Atlanta, sent that to people. As we started finding out about more events, our database as far as people started growing. We then took that list that was on an email, we then took it to a website. So then started putting the events on the website. That website, we then took it from the website and then added a phone app to that. So now, if you go to pronetworker.com, or if you go to your app store, you can download our app of finding different networking events that are happening around Atlanta. So that's been pretty much how we've grown. We've been doing this now. This year would be 10 years in August for Pro Networker. So we're super excited about that. Things have been going well, but you're very right, Tara, regarding today and what the environment is and how networking now is represented in there. And I'm really glad that you asked me to do this, because there have been so many people that said, "Hey, my business is being threatened right now. My business is severely being threatened right now. I either want to network, or I haven't networked yet, or I was an avid networker. Now what do I do?" So this is actually the first of many workshops that we're going to be doing, talking about what you should actually do now. So should I go ahead and get into?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. So what I'm going to do is this. And actually, I have a little funny story. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see here. All right. So funny story is, I have this, we're networking advocates. So we do a lot of workshops regarding networking. And I went to a previous presentation that I did called Networking Works and the Secrets of Networking. And as I was going through the presentation, I was like, wow, like there really is no big difference between what someone should have done before COVID versus what they should be doing now. There's a little tweak, but if they actually did this networking before COVID, then they wouldn't be as impacted right now. And I thought that was actually pretty amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go through the presentation, and most of the people who are watching this possibly haven't seen it. Those who have seen it, good, they should see it again. But we're going to go through it as it was at the beginning, and then at the end, there's going to be a couple little tweaks to it. But I'm going to talk about really the importance of why this stuff was so important, especially right now. So let me start off by this way. And I hate to give bad news at the beginning, but the reality is at least one person watching this presentation is going to lose their business. It is a fact. And I hate that our environment is like that right now, but I really want people to think about back in 2008, when the financial crisis hit, there was a lot of people who were losing their jobs, losing out financially and all of that. What 2008 was pretty much back in when we were in school, whether it was high school, probably more so in high school, you'd get to class and there would be what's called these pop quizzes. And sometimes you'd get to class and obviously you didn't know because it was a pop quiz. You didn't know it was coming. For those people who actually studied and had been reading along throughout the time period, they were fine. They knew the answers, and that's all that the pop quiz was. But for those of us that didn't read, we were the worried ones because we know that there was something that we did not do to prepare. Essentially, when situations like this happen, whether it's in our community or whether it's nationwide or whether it's worldwide, these are just these pop quizzes. This one is kind of like a pop final exam where it's really asking, did you do the things to prepare? And at the end of the day, even with the business or without the business, there are certain things that we need to know about, which is budgets, making sure that we have an efficient budget, a savings account, or in a business, cash reserves. And in that savings account, at least 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, sometimes up to 12 months. Now, these are basics. These are the basics. For a person who has a job and is a W-2 employee that's getting paid every 2 weeks, and if you've been on your job for longer than, I'm gonna say 2 to 3 years or longer, I'm gonna go ahead and put a blanket statement out there. There's not many reasons why you shouldn't have 3 to 6 months to 6 to 12 months of living expenses in the bank. Now, if you tell me, oh no, that nothing major happened, I just have too many expenses. No, you just have a bad budget. For business owners, it's a little different. Sometimes what we do, and this part is really important to understand what we do. We are used to risking things. We are used to taking a step out on faith. We're used to betting it all and all of that. The problem is that when we do that, when there are situations that come about, such as these pop tests, these pop quizzes, these pop finals, these viruses, that this is now that final call of showing our hand. And if we are ready, then we are okay. But if we're not ready, then this is the results. And I hate to be that black and white with it, but that's really what it is. So the bad news of this is at least one person, I hope that it's only one, but at least one person is going to lose their business before this epidemic is over. But let me give you the good news. It doesn't have to be you. The fact that whoever is watching this right now, this video right now, has now increased their chances of survival, which is really important, very important. That person who actually sits back and sacrifices the time to get this information, they have increased their chances. Doesn't mean they're going to survive, but as long as you increase it, that's what's good. The next piece to this is, let's just say worst case scenario that your business fails. Most entrepreneurs, this is nothing new to us. Failing is nothing new to us. With that, if you ask any successful business owner, they'll tell you how many multiple businesses have failed. But the beauty about that is you will actually know what to do now and what things to put in place to not fail that way. In my lifetime, I personally haven't seen anything that has affected the world like this. So this is kind of one of those outliers. But think about it like this. If you're able to actually fortify your business in a way to where if something financially affects the world and you're still okay, then that means that your business is very sound, very sound. And regardless of what happens, you are actually okay to survive. So with that, we're going to go over some things that I'm going to be honest, that if people had put in place in their business before this epidemic happened, that they would be further along right now. Again, no guarantees, but they would be further along on survival. So with that, typically when I got started in my presentations, we would do a weapons check. And again, keep in mind, I am a face-to-face networking advocate, face-to-face. So for me, that business card was my weapon. That business card was so powerful, which a lot of people really wouldn't understand how powerful the business card was. On that business card, you needed to make sure you had obviously your name, your phone number, email address, and website. But what's also important was to have the skills, the product, and the services there. Have a aesthetically pleasing design and have it on a card stock that actually people felt good about, and use the back of the card. Where this would actually, when I talked about face-to-face networking, I want to make sure everybody understands this. Social media was never to replace face-to-face networking. It was complementary. It was an add-on. So it was one to where people say, oh no, I do digital networking, okay, which is more virtual, okay, but that doesn't replace business cards. There's something that virtual networking can do that face-to-face can't do, which is the reach. You cannot reach the same number of people with face-to-face networking as you can virtual networking. But at the end of the day, digital networking and virtual networking cannot compete against a good old-fashioned handshake. It just can't. There's other things that are actually available there with the business card. Is if you had a strong and effective business card, you should be able to leave your business card on a table, walk away, somebody else be able to pick up that business card, be able to see exactly what it is you do, and if they need you, to be able to call you and give you money. That is something that you can't do digitally. So it's always to understand, the first thing is to understand the difference of the two, and the one to have a very good balance of both, of the digital or the virtual and the physical. Now, the next part when it comes to networking, most important thing is to understand the definition. Most people are networking wrong, networking incorrectly. And that is just because they don't understand what networking is. The definition of networking is two or more people sharing information that they have a common interest in. Two or more people sharing information that they have a common interest in. That is networking. Does anybody see the word sales in here? Anywhere? No. So with that, when you actually go to a networking event, or when you have your networking hat on and you're looking to network, at any point in time, if you're looking for sales, if it's you're trying to make this a sales transaction, you're actually doing it wrong. Networking is taking this information that you have and sharing it with other people. That's how you then get your business growing. Why do we need to network? If you sell a product or service, most people need multiple people to buy. So it's one of those that if you have a business to where if one person buys up your product or service, and you're set for life, great. Actually, if anybody has that business, please in the chat, let me know what it is you do so I can happily change my business so that I can get into your business. But other than that, typically you need multiple people to buy what it is that you do. So with that, if you need multiple people, then that means you need to know multiple people. And the other thing is, for most business owners, 90% of your future clients are going to come from people you don't know. So with that, there's always this constant need of getting out there and meeting new people. We have this thing where it's called meet more people. Meet more people. In 2020, we have this this opportunity to say, hey, or this challenge to say, get out and meet more people. How are you going to meet more people? Now, again, right now, we can't really do that a lot on the physical aspect, but we definitely can still do that on the virtual aspect. Now, what keeps people from networking? Typically, people don't like networking. There's a lot of, there's a lot of introverts in the world that just do not like networking. What they say is it's not really they don't like it, but it's more so of meeting people for them takes away their energy versus would an extrovert, new people give them energy, or just people in general give them energy, which is not good for your business. Your business needs people to actually meet. Some people say never find the right people, no time to network. But a lot of people that also say don't like networking is because they feel like it's very transactional. It feels like it's salesy. They feel like people aren't really interested in what it is that they're doing, which is definitely a valid case. But just know that those people are doing it wrong. And again, we're going to get back why this is so important to understand this stuff, because right now when it deals with virtual, there is so much traffic on virtual right now. So the same things that you're going to feel that you had a negative in physical networking, there's going to be negatives in the virtual networking. But as long as you understand what those things are and you know the ways around them, then you can actually move forward and make sure that it doesn't impact your business. So I used to have this slide up that's talking about, now this part is really important for virtual right now. I used to have this slide up saying, hey, if you were watching this presentation and if you had a storefront, when you would get to your storefront in the morning and you would, gather everything, clean up everything off, whatever the case is, and when you were ready for business, you were ready for somebody to actually come in, what would you do? You would typically turn the open sign on to let people know outside, we're open for business. You can now come in. The problem is, if you did not have a storefront, how do people know that you're open? And typically it's if they see you. If you're at a networking event, that lets people know, oh, you're in business. Oh, okay, because you're here. Sometimes when I wouldn't see people for a long time, I'd be like, yo, I wonder what happened to such and such. Then my next question was, I wonder if they're still in business. So what happens is when people aren't seeing you face to face, and now that, and I want everybody to really understand this, now that there are less opportunities meeting face to face, and let's just say 90% of the opportunities now are virtual. Everybody is now virtual, and everybody is hearing on the news or people's businesses are going out of business. So that now means that there's a lot of people who's thinking, wow, there's going to be a lot of people who are losing. There are a lot of people losing their business. I wonder if such and such is losing theirs. I wonder if such and such is losing theirs. And if they don't hear from you, if they don't see you, whether it's physically or now virtually, this is now your sign. They're automatically have it in their head, oh, wow, that person must have closed their business. I don't see them. You could be alive and well, but if your business right now is not online, is not visible, it's just like you're closed. And people are going to go with somebody else, your competitor, who their sign is open because they're just out in front of other people. So that part is really, really big. So with that, now, who do I look for at a networking event? Now, this is for the people who did this before coronavirus. And I want to stick with it even during coronavirus, because if you don't, you're going to develop either bad habits, one, or you're still not going to get the results that you're looking for. So again, for those people who actually did this before Corona, they should be in a better place. So for instance, who do you look for at a networking event? We call it the 3 C's: a client, a collaborator, and a competitor. These are primarily the 3 types of people that most people are looking for when they go to a networking event. Now, out of these 3, who should be the last person you should look for? Who's the last person? If you guys have a chat in there, just real quick, just put in, out of the 3 C's, a client, a collaborator, or a competitor. I want you guys to type in, who do you think the last person you should look for in there? And I'm going to look at this real quick. Let's see if I can actually see it in the chat. Let's see what we have here. I don't think I can look at it while I'm doing.
That's okay. I can tell you. Everybody says the client, the client, the client. The last
Really?
thing I look for is the client. So
Okay, good. Looks like some people have seen my presentation. All right, I like that. The last one is a client. That is the last person you should be looking for at a networking event. Why, you ask? Client is typically harder to find at a networking event. It is super rare to find somebody when you actually get to the event and you say, hey, this is my product, and they say, oh, you know what? I was looking for you today. So glad that I found you. Look, I got my money right here. How can I sign up? Does it happen? Yes, it does, but it is super rare. So with that, never have that expectation that that's going to happen. When you do find a client, typically when they buy is not when you want them to buy. They buy when they want to buy. So you might have a bill that's due this Friday, but they want to wait on it and probably do it sometime next month. So it's one of those to where you can't really rely on that client for them to buy when you want them to buy. Typically, it's a one-off transaction. Most times they say, hey, I gave you money, you gave me the product, that's it. Some may refer, but for the majority, they don't. Because again, it's not that they don't want to, but it's just not what they're thinking about doing. That's the client. The collaborator. The collaborator is a person, and my suggestion is that you find somebody who needs you to help their client complete a transaction. Now, there are certain transactions that are out there that are contingent upon other things. So for instance, a real estate agent needs a mortgage broker so that their client can purchase the house. They need multiple other people on that transaction in order for it to actually close. If you have one of those services, you definitely want to make sure that you are able to see how many people you actually need that is a part of that transaction, and you make sure that you have a good relationship with multiple people in each one of those positions. In real estate, there's probably anywhere between 5 to 7 people that are on that one transaction. And like a real estate agent should not just have a relationship with a mortgage broker, should be with an insurance agent, should be with a closing attorney, should be with an inspector, things of that nature. So you definitely want to know who these people are and for them to know who you are. The next one is find a person who complements your product. For me as a tax advisor, I'm always sitting down with my clients, talking to them about their taxes, but then the next conversation I'm having with them is about retirement and have they started thinking about their retirement plans and stuff like that. So for me, a collaborator is a financial planner. It's the same thing that a financial planner is typically talking to their clients about strategies as far as reducing their taxes. That's where now I come in. So our businesses don't need each other to complete the transaction, but we very much so complement each other. Anytime that I find a financial advisor, they typically refer me multiple clients, not just one or two. So it's one of those to where I would, if I had to, I'd rather find a financial advisor than an actual client, because I know that typically that financial advisor is going to refer more business to me than that actual client will. So now my goal is to try to find as many financial advisors as possible. In your business, you want to think about who are people who you typically talk about when you're doing a transaction with a client, or people who your client asks about where you say, oh no, I don't do that. If there's something where they ask you and you say, I don't do that, that's typically going to be a collaborator for you. You want to find them so now you can say, hey, I don't do that. This person does. Hey, let me make that introduction to you so that hopefully that person would do that back and forth with you. So, and a competitor. You know, I love doing these presentations because most times when we come up to a competitor, and most times I hear, Corey, why would I do business with a competitor? Like, why would I do that? Here are some of the opportunities, especially now, especially with everything that's happening right now. The opportunities are product knowledge and competitive edge. With me networking with my competitors, there's often times that I actually learn more about the actual industry itself. They may have researched something that I haven't, or whatever the case is. especially if I know what their services are and I know what their prices are, I now can adjust mine in such a way to kind of give me that competitive edge because I have that information. I can then actually, I've had clients where they've said to me, okay, great, I see what you're charging, see what you do. Hey, I'm gonna go check out the competition. And I would actually tell them, oh yeah, you should. Hey, when you get there, here's what you're gonna find. And I would tell them exactly what their experience was gonna be. And I would then get a call back from them saying, yep, you were right, this is what it was. That lets them know, I've done my homework. Like I'm not just out here just for me. No, I want to protect you and what it is that you're doing. So that kind of gives them that confidence. Keeps your business focus in your target market. Everybody's heard of the phrase, stay in your lane, okay? We want to. And it's always one of those things that if you make pies, if you're the best pie maker in the world, everybody comes from near and far to get your pies, somebody's gonna ask you, well, you make pies, can you make cake? And the thing is, you know they're both desserts and it's not too far from doing it. But if you want to get money in, you might say, well, yeah, let me go ahead and bake you a cake real quick. I normally don't do it. What that ends up doing is get you off your big business focus. Versus if you were to find somebody who makes cakes, you can now create a relationship with them so that now you can say, no, I don't make cakes, but this person does. And you can stay on your focus on making pies. And now what happens is you can even build a relationship with that cake making person. Hey, when I refer you somebody, let me get a cut or give me a referral fee or whatever, or let me add it to my business model, my revenue model. So now you're still making money, but you're not having to change your focus. Huge, huge. Continuous referrals with competitors that do the same, kind of the same thing that you do, but if they do it a little bit different, like in my tax business, there's some people who, yeah, I do taxes, but I don't do taxes for anybody that has a rental property. Oh, well, I do. Great. They will now refer me multiple business because anytime that they run into somebody that has a rental property, they're going to refer them to me. Huge. They could go out of business. Again, right now, unfortunately, this is the environment. There's going to be businesses that have already and will continue to go out of business. But they have clients that still need that service. Now, I want everybody to listen to this because this part is super important. Typically, the average person doesn't think about doing business with their competitor. So with that, if I have 100 clients and I don't think about doing business with my competitor and I go out of business, who am I going to give these 100 clients to? Versus if I have a relationship with Tara and I know that we do the same thing and we've been buddy with each other and it's not been a competition, we are competitors, but we're not competitive with each other. And I call her and I say, listen, yeah, I think we're about to go out of business, but listen, I want to make sure that my clients have a place to land. Will you take my clients? I am sure she will say, yes, for you, Corey, just for you, Corey, I will do that. But the only way for her to get those clients from me is for her to have built a relationship with me. That's the only way. In my tax business, I have gotten 3 of these phone calls to where somebody said, hey, we're about to stop doing taxes, but you are on what's called a short list of competitors that we actually have built a relationship with. How would you like our competitor? How would you like our client base? I just got off of a call yesterday from a client that paid me a little over $500. And they were referred to me by another tax business that went out of business back in 2012. And they are still on my books. So that just keeps going and going. This one is a big one. And that's because for me, when I was out networking, I would love to find a competitor so that we can build a relationship with each other. Love to find a competitor. Because again, if I felt like I was going to be in business longer than them, then I would want them to use me if they were ever going to leave the business or whatever the case is. So that one is huge. The last one under that is a resource for your clients who you want to fire. Here's the reality. I have had some clients in the past that, let me be politically correct, we just didn't have the right business mindset with each other, but the right chemistry with each other. They would probably be happier, possibly with somebody else, just based on my systems or whatever the case is. Everybody knows what I'm talking. Everybody's had that client where you're just like, man, I don't know what I want to do with you. But here's the thing: you can call your competitor and be like, "Hey, Tara, listen, I got this perfect client for you. You're gonna love them. You're gonna love them." So, with that, if you have a relationship with a competitor, you can do things like that. So, again, under the competitor, you want to find a person who has a similar product or service, but doesn't do everything that you do. That's the biggest key. Doesn't do everything that you do. Who needs you to help their clients and makes them look better. Again, you may be the only competitor they have a relationship with. Please understand that. You may be the only person, the only competitor that they have a relationship with. So with that, if anything happens, they're going to call you. Types, they can either be smaller, the same size, bigger, same product, different product, whatever the case is. But again, you still want to make sure that you're having that relationship with them. So with that, now who would you look for at a networking event? For me, I would love to find competitors. I would love to find competitors, because I knew that this was going to be a referral source that was coming for me. So based on all of that, if you now look at right now, as far as networking is concerned, everyone is now going online virtually, and they're networking virtually and stuff like that. So now it's like, okay, what are we looking for? Everybody's looking for clients. Everybody's looking for clients. But I really want people to understand the same thing. Everybody's online right now looking for these 3 C's, but it's still the same type of networking. Who should be the last person that you're looking for? It should still be the last person should be a client. You should not be looking for a client. You should be looking for either that collaborator or that competitor right now. So if you have not done that in your business before, you really need to do that now. Really need to do that now, because what's going to end up happening is the referral, anytime that there's too much traffic any place, a person is looking for a decision that's going to be more comfortable for them. A client is going to be looking for a decision that's more comfortable. What's more comfortable is a trusted source. So if my trusted source says, hey, are you looking for a tax person? And I say, yeah, I am, but I'm online. I see all this traffic, man, there's tax. They say, oh, okay, well, listen, hey, you know me, yep. Hey, my friend over here, someone who I've done business with for years, they're great. 99 times out of 100, I'm gonna be like, well, I'm gonna go with that person. Thank you. If you trust them, I don't have to go through all this traffic over here to try to figure out who I feel good about, whatever. I trust you. If you trust them, I'm definitely gonna go in that direction. That's also happening right now. So as people are taking their businesses virtually, please don't get off the course. Yes, we're still looking for clients, still looking for collaborators and competitors, but let that main focus be that collaborator and competitor. Lastly, now with the COVID-19 weapons check. Before, without it, the weapons check was your business card. Now, your weapons check is your virtual presence is your weapon. Your virtual presence is your weapon. You need a strong logo. You need a logo that you feel good about. You need a logo that people are going to look at and they're going to be like, oh, I like that. That looks great. You want an appealing company/product flyers. Every business should have at least 3 electronic flyers. One is talking about their company. Another one is talking about the company's full-blown products, like all of the products that you have. And another should talk about a specific product, either your hot product, the one that's moving the fastest, or one that you really want to start moving the fastest. At least those three. They need to be, again, electronic format. They need to be social media, the difference between something that is vertical versus a square, or like a rectangle versus a square, something that you can put on an IG or whatever the case is. But you definitely need to have those. A functional website. And when I say functional, the most important part about the website is data capture. Yes, it should be, some people take products and stuff like that, but it needs something to be data capture. When I say data capture, at the end of the day, we need to build database. You gotta build your database. You gotta build your database. If there's nothing that you get out of this presentation, you gotta build your database. So you now need, and that's all networking is building database. You wanna have something that's gonna capture that person's data. Then you also want to have something that's going to make them want to give you your data. Give them something for free. If this website looks good and appealing, somebody's going to give you their information. If it doesn't look good, then they're probably not going to give it to you. Next, your CRM system. If you don't know what a CRM system is, just going to say, shame on you. You need to know what a CRM system is. Your CRM system is the heartbeat of your business. That is your customer relationship management system. That's your little black book for your business. If you do not have one, and here's the beauty, if you don't have one, now is the time to get one. You can go to MailChimp, you can go to Constant Contact, which technically aren't true CRMs, but they can be used as one. With that, you need something that is going to capture the phone, the first name, last name, email address, phone number, company name, and do some notes for this person, where you met them, how you met them, what their needs are, and things like that. Are they a potential client? Are they a potential collaborator? Are they a competitor of yours? You need something to segment these things out. I know I might be going kind of deep for some people, but again, for business, this is 101 stuff. So again, if you're not familiar with this stuff, you can definitely reach out to me, or Tara knows about this stuff as well. Maybe she'll have another workshop about this in the future. And then your social media platforms. When I say social media platforms, one, having the knowledge of them, but they also need to look appealing. You need to have a header on your like your Facebook page and things of that nature, on your LinkedIn. Know what social media platforms that you are strong in and which ones that you're not strong in. For me, for those of you that know me, I am not strong on social media. I am not, but I'm about to be. What's now happening is we all have to pivot. For a person who has produced so many face-to-face events, this month was my first actually attending a webinar. This webinar here is my first actually participating, where I'm speaking as a webinar. On the 1st of April was my first that I produced webinar. So even though that I'm not very much into the social media and online, let me tell you, I took a strong, hard pivot because my business needed it. My business needed it. And again, I'm not very good with the virtual stuff, but let me tell you, before we get out of this, I'm going to be a guru when it comes to this stuff. And I'm going to be just that much more dangerous out here in these streets as soon as we come out from this. Because now not only am I going to be the king of face-to-face, but the king of virtual. Don't even get me started, Tara. I'm about to get on. Listen, don't get me started. So virtual networking checklist, and I'll be wrapping it up from this. Again, there we go. Virtual networking tips. Right now, there's so much traffic online, but that is not to deter you from getting out there and getting into the traffic. You get out there. It's better for you to be out there amongst everybody else than to not be out there at all. So definitely go live on your social media, whether it's Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn. Let people know you are still in business. Let them know that you are still in business. Let them know that you're okay. Let them know that you understand what's going on, that you are aware of it, that you are not scared, that it has your attention. Yeah, you're recognizing it, but you're still here and in business, and let them know how you're going to pivot. Give them some strong strategies of how you're about to pivot, how you're about to now do business. And you're hoping that they, especially the people who are already following you, that they support, which they will. If you had been building a relationship with a lot of collaborators and potentially competitors, right now, same way like Tara's a collaborator for me, she called me and said, hey, how would you like to participate in my webinar? This is how that's done. So you want to participate in other people's webinars. Right now, more and more people are going to start having webinars. So you want to make sure that you're known as that expert in that industry, so that you can actually speak on that behalf for that industry. That's what's getting your name out there more, meeting more people. Schedule one-on-ones. Right now is a perfect time to go through your database and these recognized collaborators that you had to build in a better relationship with them. Shoot them a message, say, hey, listen, are you free next week? Yes, I'm at home, yes. With that, let's get on a Zoom for 30 minutes. Let me see your face, you can see my face, so that we can actually learn about each other's business. I'm not calling you for money, I wanna learn about it so we can be referral partners for each other. You should be doing, to the very least, one 101 a day. At least one 101 a day. And let me say it like this. If you feel good about your database, and I'm gonna say this, it's not me bragging or anything, because I've put in a lot of work for this. Over these last years, I have a database of over 15,000 people in my emails. I have close to 10,000 people on LinkedIn. And I still need to do one-on-ones. I still want to learn with people. But I feel very confident that in my database, that because of the number of people that I know, that I'm going to move past this epidemic. Even though I have a tax business, but then I have an event business where we received all of our revenue from face-to-face events. 100% of our revenue came from face-to-face events. And now the world is not having face-to-face events. So we now have to pivot. So I say that to say is that if you don't have a large database like that, then that's okay. It is now more important for you to actually do these one-on-ones, so that each person who knows you, they know exactly what you do, how you do it, and what's a good client for you. You should be busy doing at least one of those a day, at least one. Again, build your database. Right now, it's all about building database. Who is going to make it out of this is going to people who actually used their database to their benefit. The ones who make it out of this are able to leverage their database and to extract revenue from their database. Those are the only people who are going to make it through this. Lastly, collaborate. You know, I think about this picture that if you were in a boat with other people and somehow the boat, you know, blew up, but everybody was okay, but everybody's out in the water and they're all by themselves. You need to congregate, come together to like on one raft. And if you guys are together, that's now where the strength comes in. So in your own business, if you are, I don't know, a financial advisor, there's going to be other financial advisors, but there's going to be other people in that field, whether it's an insurance agent, whether it's a tax accountant, whether it's whoever, that is also having the same experience as you having right now. Call them and band together. Hey guys, listen, we're all having the same situation happen together. How about we actually go through this and do kind of like a united front? How about we actually go together and try to make a difference in here and see if we can take one client and bounce it around between each other, and then add another client in and bounce it around between each other. And that's how we actually survive during this. So that is the end of my presentation, but we're gonna be here for some questions and answers, but really at the end of the day, it's really gonna be about building that database, collaboration, and really trying to make sure that these one-on-ones is going to be super important. You let as many people know what it is that you do and what you're looking for. And again, that you're still here in business. So that's it.
Awesome, Corey. Thank you so much. Just to edify a couple things that you were talking about, the one-on-ones are very important. Rona had a great question, like any suggestions to individuals still working full-time on how to do virtual networking. So for example, I'm doing virtual coffee meetups where I did one this morning. I had a virtual coffee meeting this morning and we did it through Zoom. And it was just me and a friend of mine. Well, she's a friend. I consider her a friend, but she's a business collaborator. And I say that because we do the same thing, but she is in a business where she wants to focus more on the marketing side and she doesn't want to do websites. So she was looking for someone to take that part of her business on. And then I don't want to do the marketing side. So I was looking for someone that can help a lot of my clients who have websites with marketing strategies. And so, I had my coffee. It was on Zoom. I hadn't seen her in like 5 years. So it was a great excuse to see each other face to face, have a conversation, learn more about what each of us were doing, and then how we can collaborate, and if there's synergy there. And so you do it at your own convenience. If it's at night, you can have a cocktail, virtual cocktail. I don't care, but it's a great way when you have some time, you can schedule some time to do a one-on-one. Now you don't have to do 20 all day long. Like he said, Corey said, you can do one a day. And it could be a quick phone call, just touching base, wanted to check up on you, see if you're okay. If you need anything, let me know. It doesn't have to be a 2 or 3 hour conversation. It could be a 15-minute conversation, depending on the synergy that you have there. There's been people that I just wanted to get on the top of their phone list. So I'll call and check up on them, not necessarily mean I want to have a 30-minute or an hour conversation with them. The conversation may last about five minutes, or less than that. Like you said as well, like all of the meetings, I had 5 meetings, but 3 of them have been virtually. And so now is the new way. There's no excuse. And a lot of people have more time now. So this is the best way to connect with the people. Take advantage of the fact that they have time. Take advantage of the fact that extroverts are going crazy. They're going out of their mind. They're not okay. And so I am taking advantage of the fact that y'all are not okay. Y'all need something to do. You need to connect. So as an introvert, I cannot connect. But this is a great opportunity to connect with my extrovert accountant friends. Because accountants are usually introverts. So
very much so.
Extroverted accountants are very special people.
Yes.
So Corey, those were amazing tips. And it's funny that those tips that were for years ago are still relevant today because we're doing everything virtually, but eventually there's going to be, a cure and we're not going to be quarantined all day long. And like you said, you don't want to create bad habits and then you lose the actual touch, because there are some people that are extremely high touch and low tech people.
Yes.
So Corey, how can people get in touch with you, connect with some of your virtual webinars that you're going to do? And especially if they're in the Atlanta, Georgia area, where can they find some networking events?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that I'm going to do is in the chat here, I will put my information, which they can go to pronetworker.com, which is our website. And the easiest thing to do is to go to pronetworker.com and you'll be able to see a place where you can actually put your email address in, and you will now be a part of our newsletters that are going out. So you'll be able to see some of the things that we're doing. You can also go to see us on Facebook under Pro Networker. You can join our group there. We have a host of different events we had to push all of our events back. So we have about 3 different event concepts we have a Women's Business Expo concept. We have an Urban Atlanta concept. And we have a Circle of Firms concepts. All of these concepts have been pushed back, but you can find out information about all of these if you go to pronetworker.com and like I said, put your information in there. you'll be able to see us there. And also, I'll put my email address in there, which is Corey@pronetworker.com. You can always reach me there as well, just to find out about different things that's happening. We just did our first webinar last Wednesday, actually, which was really good. We were very excited about it. I have another live that I'm going to be doing this Wednesday. I'm looking at that's going to be announcing. I can't tell you about it, but we got something happening April 15th. It's a networking event, but it's unlike the networking events that are happening right now. I haven't seen this concept yet with all the traffic. I have not seen this concept yet, but I'm gonna give you a hint. If you have been to a pro networker event years past, there was one element, and don't say anything, but there was one element that we had a part of our event that pretty much people knew our event from us. So with that, we're actually bringing back that element, and we're gonna do it virtually.
Really?
Again. Yes.
Y'all gonna do that virtually?
Yes. They're not ready. They're not ready.
They're not ready.
They're not ready.
Look, I gotta go to see how y'all do that one.
Yes, we're gonna do it virtually. So with that, we're gonna make that announcement on Wednesday. Part of that announcement, you go on to pronetworker.com, scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a place where you can actually enter in your email address and all of that. So you'll get that information.
That is awesome, Corey. Thank you again for sharing the information and for being a resource for us. I really appreciate you. You, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, I wanted to open up this opportunity for anyone in the mastermind that has any questions. I know Rona has a question. I don't know if you want to ask the question from earlier, Rona, or if you want me to ask the question. But if you have a question, just unmute yourself. Go ahead, Rona.
So, Corey, one of the things you had mentioned was the card stock. So does it matter on the weight, like if it should be 10, 15? Is there a suggested weight for the card stock?
Good question, Rona. And also, I'm actually glad you asked that. One of the things that people should be doing right now is making sure that all of they're getting ready to get back out there and networking. So it's one of those of making sure that, like, for instance, if people are like, hey, I don't have any business cards right now. Okay, now's the time to order some. Now's the time to really take your time and get that design that you really like and all of that. Is there a specific weight to it? There's not a specific, but you want to make sure that it is sturdy enough to where when you give it to somebody, they need to feel like, oh, okay, you spent some money on this. One, they need not to think that you just got them printed at your house. They should not be,
Like, don't have the preparation on the.
Please don't have the preparation on them.
Don't print it on,
Please don't have the
paper,
preparation on them
at your house, and
yes,
don't cut them
don't.
yourselves and they're uneven.
Yes.
Yeah, don't do that.
They should
put them
be
on bright fluorescent color sheets of paper. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
Please don't.
No. Yeah, and you can get them done. Like I use what was that place in Atlanta that prints? Prima. They do a lot of I lived at Prima. They do a lot of great.
That's my spot.
If you can't design it yourself, Prima, they have designers, or find a designer. And I also use the other one. What's the other service that does business cards? That I can't remember. Vista. Now, if you're going to use Vista, find a professional looking business card. Don't get the ones with a whole bunch of pictures that looks like a little kid drawing it, unless it suits your business. If you're an accountant, don't have flowers and everything all over the place. It's just not balanced. Now, if you are an artist, Yes, that's fine. If you
Right.
are an accountant or you're trying to, be a CEO of a company, you notice all the CEOs of the company are very clean and they're very it's just very simple.
Yeah.
There's not, unless it's a logo, unless it's a part of the brand, most CEOs are very simple. It has their contact information. I saw this one CEO, it was a white card stock, very thick though. White card stock has his name, title, CEO. On the back of it, it had the company's logo and his phone number, but it was very, very simple.
Yeah.
So the more money that people make, the less gaunty the business
Yeah.
cards are.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good question. That was a good question.
And Vistaprint is really a good place to get cards if you, again, are on a budget with it. But like Tar said, make sure that you go in and you don't get the first templates that are there. This was years ago, I went to a networking where there was probably, let's say 30 people at the event. And I was going back through at the end and putting the cards in my CRM system. 3 cards had the same design on the front. And I almost threw 2 of them away because I was like, oh, I got the same card. But then I looked and I was like, no, this is different.
Yeah.
And 3 of them, different businesses, same design.
Same template and same design.
Same template.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I have a challenge with, even with websites. You got to be careful with using certain templates, because if you don't use the template correctly, it can make your site not look as professional, or you could be one of 20,000 people that have the same style.
Yeah.
So you want to invest in certain things in your business, because at the end of the day, if you don't invest those things in your business, people aren't going to want to invest in you as as a provider of the products and services, because consumers, we are very judgmental, and we look at things, and if it doesn't look right or a certain way, we may or may not do business. So we don't want to give people a reason not to do business with us. That's just the reality of it.
And Rana said she's in Texas. Rana, just if you have Vistaprint, you can go there. But a better thing is, if you know a graphic designer, is to definitely talk with them, and they should be able to, one, design it for you, and then they should be able to have recommendations on what the card stock should be.
Yeah, absolutely. At least design, you have your logo and design your business card. And then that way you just upload it and they print it as well. And Prima, again, is a good price.
Yeah.
Liz, you have a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
I do. First of all, I thought that was a great presentation, Corey. But I had a question about, you mentioned of some of the problems with networking. I honestly think that one of the issues too, and I don't think this is talked about enough, is that many people do not know how to network. I mean, the actual act of engaging with someone, what is their mission and what is their goal? You touched on it a little bit here when you went through client, collaborator, and competitor. But do you have a presentation in which you actually assist people in teaching them how to effectively network?
You know what, I do, but while we're on this, and I'm glad you asked that, and this actually kind of gets into, I forgot which person was asking regarding networking while they have a full-time job. Essentially, meeting with somebody, the goal is to be able to first let them know, obviously, what your business is, what your product and your service is, and what's a good client for you, and what some of your needs are. Sometimes your needs aren't necessarily a client. Your need might be a great graphics person. Your need might be a social media person. But really, you want to let them know the name of your company, your product and your service, what your target market is, or what a perfect client looks like, and what your needs are. And then what's more importantly, you want to turn back around and ask them the same thing. Right. So that during that conversation, like Tara was talking about, your one-on-one literally could be 30 minutes. It could be 20 to 30 minutes. It could be you spending 10 minutes going over this quickly. They take their 10 minutes, great. Hey, any questions? Any questions? Great. And that's it. But that is the effective networking. And then following up with that person just to see, you asking yourself, while they're telling me this, do I think that this person would be effective to do business with? Meaning, do I want them in my closer circle? If so, let me see if there's something I can help them with.
Right.
Let me see if there's something I can add value to their business with. And typically, if you go in the session looking at that, and you're actually able to say, hey, you know what? Oh yeah, you said that you're looking for a graphic designer. Hey, I know one. Hey, let me refer that. Let me do a text message introduction right now so that you can meet this person. That's now adding value. And 9 times out of 10, they'll reciprocate that with you. That's effective networking.
Yes, absolutely. And to piggyback on that, what's successful networking for me is pretty much what he said. But whoever initiates the request for the contact is the last, I usually is the last to share their information. So for example, if I've initiated with Corey, one, I'm going to have some small talk. How are you doing? Are you staying safe? Very, very limited, depending on how much I know him. If I know, because I know Corey, there's a little bit of time there that I need to know, how you doing, man? I ain't seen you in a while. You good?
Right.
Then it's going to be, so, I wanted to connect with you. What are some of the things that you need? What do you do again? So I'm going to ask them to share first, right? Because I don't want them to feel like I'm pitching to them or selling to them. Yes. So tell me about what you're doing now, what your needs are, and how can I serve you, right? And then afterwards, okay, well, let me share a little bit about what I do, and what I'm probably looking for, and if you know anyone. And then the last thing that I do is I always have some form of a give, right? I have a call to action. Corey would love me for that. So I have a call to action, and I'm very specific. If you know someone that needs a website, that's a small business or a new entrepreneur, I'm doing a special. Can you please refer them to me, or refer 3 people to me? That would be great so I can serve them and help them out. The next thing is I always have a give, right? Hey, if you know anyone, I would love to give your clients a 50% discount, or I'd love to give your clients 15 minutes of my time to help you, so that I can, and then I also have clients. Is it okay if I refer some of my clients to you? So that way it looks like there is a dance of a relationship that's building, not necessarily a pitch of your business and what you need to that person. And then you're just sitting around waiting for them to shut up.
Yeah, that's great. Those are some great points. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Liz. That was awesome. So I don't know if anyone else has any other questions that's there. If you do have any questions and you're watching the replay or you're watching live, post the questions in the chat below, whether you're watching on YouTube Live or you're watching on Facebook Live. Just post them in the chat below. And Corey is a part of the group, and if not, he will be today. And he will definitely respond, or I'll respond with those. So hopefully this was very helpful of how to network, use the internet to network your network. Don't forget, there is a high touch portion of that will happen in the future. But right now we need to leverage the virtual opportunities that we have and the tools that we have to continue to connect. Corey, you're an awesome connector. Thank you for everything that you've done. And thank you for always allowing me to come on your platform.
Listen, anything that you need, I am always here for you. It has been a pleasure networking with you for all of these years. I continue networking with you even more. I'm so glad to, to actually hear from you and to see that, yes, that you're doing well and thriving. I love hearing about your pivot. That is awesome. Because this is the people who you want to do business with, people who have the ability to pivot.
Absolutely. Now, Corey, you also are an accountant. Are you accepting clients now?
You know what? I'm so glad you said that. Yes, I am accepting clients, actually, especially small businesses. We do taxes in every state, but there's a lot going on when it comes to taxes right now. So you can definitely reach out to me, even through the email address that I had there, the Corey at Pro Network. You can actually reach me through there. But yes, we are taking clients right now. The tax deadline has been extended from April 15th to July 15th. Payments have been extended. Stimulus payments are supposed to be getting paid out whenever they do it, which is going to be based on your 2018 tax return. So that if you guys have not gotten that in, we can definitely take care of past years for you as well. But we primarily specialize in small businesses. And those are those solopreneurs, like we like to call them. It's just you working. And you really need to learn the difference between how to lower your taxable liabilities while either keeping your revenue the same or increasing your revenue. So we're educators. So with that, we don't just do your taxes. You can actually prepare your taxes yourself at home. Yourself.
We don't recommend that. We don't recommend
I don't. But you know, again, what we are not the person who just takes numbers, put it on a piece of paper and send it out. No, we actually educate you about this stuff. None of it is sexy unless money in your pocket is sexy, then it's real sexy.
Unless you're talking about money, I can make anything sexy, but
right. And that's the thing. Unless money, you like money, then money's real sexy after that.
exactly.
But yeah, so yeah, we are taking clients, so I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. And especially if you want that stimulus check, you want to do your at least 2018 tax returns. If you made a whole lot of money in 2018, but 2019 wasn't that cute, you might want to file those 2019 very quick before they use your 2018 to send that stimulus. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Yeah. Anybody else that wants to share their business, we do need to see your face in the place. So if you want to turn your camera on so we can see you, we would love to learn more about your business. Otherwise, my name is Tara Jackson, aka Madam Money. I am the founder of DUALpreneur, and DUALpreneur are superhero side hustle superheroes. Those that work full-time or part-time and also have entrepreneurial ventures. So I believe that you can keep your benefits and build your business too, boo. I think that we need to have multiple streams of income because we have multiple streams of bills and dreams. I had to pivot this year because y'all know I lost a lot of money being a speaker, but I am also a web designer. I've been doing that for 25 years. I picked it up to ease some of my anxiety that I was having from traveling all the time. And I've been helping a lot of small businesses look like Fortune 500 companies, regardless of their size. So I believe you should have a professional presence that's out there. You do not want to go out there having your website look like your 12-year-old did it. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. And your professionalism of your website usually dictates the clientele, your clientele. So there's a reason why people go to McDonald's versus those that go to a 5-star restaurant. So we want to make your website, your virtual presence, your virtual storefront open for business, a 5-star company as well. So you can track the clientele that you want that will pay you. Well, if you'd like to learn more about that or just schedule a conversation with me to learn more about your needs, you can go to SRJ Websites. So that's S for Stephanie, R for Roger, J for Jean, my mother, my grandfather, and my grandmother, SRJ Websites with an S.com, and schedule a quick consultation. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Well, thank you all again for watching another episode. I'm hoping that these masterminds are providing you with the information that you need to hashtag keep DUALpreneurs in business. That is my goal, to get you the information that you need to stay in business, grow your business, and get through this and beyond. So Corey, JT, Liz, and my girl, Catherine, thank you so much. We had others that were on here. Thank you so much for coming into the mastermind, and thank you for watching the mastermind. Don't forget, I love you, and wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.